is no doubt that coronavirus is going to affect businesses. We've seen it hugely over the last few weeks, but every single company seems to be emailing about us about coronavirus. And if I'm honest, it's doing my head in. It's annoying, repetitive, and is often copied and pasted from other companies. Um, but that's not to say that there isn't a wrong way of marketing during coronavirus. It's the email started with airlines and quickly spread to all kinds of organizations, including universities, tech startups, and even places you visited years ago. Um, they're all sending you information updates about how they're dealing with coronavirus, and they're more than likely going to be titled "Things are weird, let's get through this together," or just a brief message from our CEO. Um, while this might seem great on the face of things, it's not brilliant. Um, I mean, as the UK as a whole has gotten used to being in lockdown, it's started to make sense for some companies to give their customers regular updates or um, just the odd email, just to kind of give them information on practical matters like health and safety protocols when in store, or the availability of their delivery or other essential services. Um, the issue comes when companies are emailing their entire client list after not hearing from them or sending them or interacting in any way for a huge period, um, or just simply sending a self-serving email that paints themselves out to be doing more good than they actually are. And in that sense, it can backfire massively, especially as it can just be seen as jumping on another bandwagon down that's happening. I'm not saying that jumping on the bandwagon isn't a good thing in some instances. It's been used to great effect over the last few years, certainly with, for example, Gillette with their Super Bowl commercial where it addressed the Me Too movement, Nike with its Colin Kaepernick ad, celebrating his activism in the NFL. That comes down to cultural marketing and is kind of separate but closely related to jumping on that bandwagon. But it can be obviously a powerful tool to connecting with people that look to your brand for guidance or as a leader in certain instances. The issue comes where, in times of unprecedented fear, economic issues, that same cultural marketing needs to follow has to walk a very tight line. This current pandemic is no different. Brands don't want to appear as though they're ignoring it, hence all the emails. But at the same time, they don't want to appear to be cashing in on the crisis and making money out of many people's misery, which has led to a new marketing landscape emerging. So, this new marketing landscape that has emerged is basically part of a larger email marketing and branding strategy that many of these companies will be using to paint themselves as reliable, ethical, and sanitary, to be honest. And so while these coronavirus emails don't at first glance look like marketing, simply because they don't overtly advertise product, what they are doing is putting in your brain that they can be trusted as a brand, and basically in the hope that you will, after this is all finished, cleared, done, lockdown's over, that you will then go out and buy their products and visit their websites and take part in their services. So this change represents a hugely significant shift in the economy and what has occurred since the pandemic has begun. basically driven by what consumers have decided is key to their day-to-day lives, really, um, as well as what regulators will allow and what brands have the budget to create and release. Um, Within this kind of period, huge industries have shut down or have completely lost their appeal. For example, the UK government has shut down restaurants, bars, um, airlines. They have so few passengers, they're simply shifting to cargo only flights or are just entirely grounding their fleets and not running any flights at all. Um, on the other hand, some whole industries are growing at a huge rate. Um, for example, children's content, so education platforms. YouTube creators where uh, they teach kids life skills or toys, games. They've just grown hugely because parents are now at home and having to homeschool their children. So it has taken off in a way that they probably wouldn't have expected to at this time had there not been a pandemic. Um, the same with food delivery services and streaming services. Netflix announced the other day that they gained 16 million new subscribers since lockdown had begun, which is a huge number of people. Um, Food delivery services are the same, where if basically anyone that can deliver and has an online platform or can take orders and payments over the phone is in a huge position to capitalize on this current pandemic, and those who aren't are unfortunately going to fall by the wayside. So rather than consumers changing their attitudes towards products, it's down to the companies themselves to change the way that their marketing strategies are going to fit into this current environment. Many companies are doing so very well. Some aren't doing quite so well. Um, for example, in the UK right now, we would be going into kind of prom season, where with large gatherings being banned, particularly in the short term and potentially even longer, these aren't going to happen more than likely. So clothing brands are instead choosing to focus on kind of loungewear and things you will wear at home, right, instead of obviously these amazing ball gown type products. And on a larger scale and kind of outside of clothing, some companies have just entirely decided to kind of stop marketing altogether. Um, Coca-Cola have chosen to reduce and in some instances stop advertising, um, simply due to the uncertainty they feel is in the market. Um, but because of big companies stopping advertising or um, reducing their advertising, there are opportunities for kind of smaller businesses to take advantage where they wouldn't normally be able to, because of high costs or um, there's the market just isn't there. Um, so one of the key parts of this is that digital marketing has actually become cheaper during this pandemic than before. Um, in particular, Facebook ads, cost per impression on Facebook ads has substantially dropped, even though with people being at home all day and the traffic on the platform increasing, because of the companies like Coca-Cola reducing their marketing, it's giving other companies an opportunity to advertise to that segment of their audience at a lower cost than would have been previously able to. Other websites such as news websites have seen this as well. So while the advertising ability of their clients is reduced, companies such as The Atlantic, a news site in America, has seen its traffic almost double during the lockdown, but again, the amount they can gain from it from advertisers is lower. This increased traffic on social media platforms, it can be put down to people being cooped up all day and, quite frankly, having very little else to do. Um, that means that any high quality content that your business can put out will be crucial at this time. Um, so if you have a team working from home that would normally be on the road selling, or would normally be making hundreds of calls to potential customers, but can't right now because those customers are closed, or uh, just aren't taking the phone calls, um, it's a great chance to get them to create content for your business. Um, so each person within a team will have a specialty, um, and will have insights and knowledge that only they can share, not only with the rest of your team, but also with your customers. And it will position your business um, as knowledgeable and as being the go-to for kind of when this is all over. Um, the issue some businesses might have is that after kind of that initial wave of emails about what they are doing for coronavirus, they might find it hard to know what to say, and it has kind of resulted in a completely different range of skills being needed to to kind of come from this, for the future of marketing. So there is an emerging playbook in marketing to kind of deal with um, marketing well during coronavirus. Um, Firstly, it's relatively clear on what not to say. For example, in March, KFC pulled its ad campaigns that didn't fit alongside the new um, reality of regular hand washing and social distancing, um, as did many other brands, but that just weren't as kind of high profile in the UK. So KFC's ad, firstly, showed people eating their signature fried chicken and then sensuously licking their fingers. Um, so basically playing on their finger licking good catchphrase. Um, Again, like regular hand washing, it's not really the done thing at this current time. So quite rightly, really, it was pulled. In the US, Hershey's ads featured too much hugging and handshaking. So while both were brilliant adverts in their own rights, and no doubt did what they were set out to do, um, under the current circumstances, it's understandable why they were pulled, and they more than likely will make a comeback once all this is over and done with. When it's all over and done with, so it kind of raises the question of what does actually work now. Um, Isolation friendly brands have been reaching out to customers more often than they did previously. Um, Key to note is that they don't mention the pandemic as much as some other companies. Um, I've been seeing more adverts for home exercise equipment and DIY products than I would have before. An uptick in emails such as Amazon Prime, Amazon in general, Netflix, anyone that can deliver, so Just Eat, Deliveroo, things like that. Um, and then the, the thing that brings all these together and makes them all great at this time is that they keep their customers informed, firstly, and they do it without mentioning coronavirus, even though they have steps in place to deal with it. Um, because at the end of the day, coronavirus is everywhere at the moment. It's pretty much all you see on the news. It's all that you see in on social media. So it's kind of that proverbial elephant in the room that you know is there, but you don't really need to say it's there because it's quite obvious. Um, Other companies such as airlines who have entirely lost relevance really during this pandemic, and are in a bit of a weird situation where they can't offer their products at the moment, because quite frankly most of them aren't flying. When they are flying, they can't take passengers, um, but they don't have to entirely stop advertising, um, because they can continue to build brand awareness through content, photo contests for their followers on social media, and reported features on far-flung destinations that people can dream about and then book later on. Um, they can all be produced now by teams working at home. They don't have to um, be on location to be able to make anything. Um, and more importantly, they can do it all without mentioning coronavirus. It's doing my head in, and I've probably mentioned it far too much in this video as it is. But by not mentioning coronavirus in things like the destination features, they will still be relevant when this is all done and won't be kind of caught in a bit of a time lapse. Um, so people a year, 2, 3, 4 years down the line can still go onto your website, find somewhere, say Morocco, and read about what's awesome to do in Morocco, but you'd have written it now. So it'd still be relevant and still get people to your website down the line as well as now. But if your business has been kind of sidelined, you don't need to avoid marketing, and kind of airlines and travel companies are an example of that. Stopping marketing is potentially the worst thing you can do. People will become stir crazy. They might, going back to the travel companies, it might not be the best time for them to plan a holiday at the moment, but they will no doubt be planning holidays for the future. So many airlines are taking the initiative on this and waiving fees for flight changes or cancellations. And at the end of the day, whilst a kind of a banner ad on Google might feel entirely tone deaf at the moment and kind of out of sorts, it does give people the opportunity to plan for the future and think of the future, and have something to look forward to if that's the way they want to choose to get through this and be positive at this time. But I feel that we will eventually appreciate the digital marketing efforts that have made us positive at this time and that will make us look towards the future. Comment below and kind of let me know how it goes, or head on over to my website and send me a message.